Yes, indeed, folks, it's time for the illusion of choice! Terrifying. We've got one here that's kind of cool, kind of nifty. Yes. It's from JB. I wonder if that's his actual name. It actually is. There you go. Level 80 Priest and Mage on Executus EU. He says this. Hi CB, I was wondering what you would think about a UBRS-style 10-player raid instance for Cataclysm. I was thinking about a puggable 1 to 2 hour long instance with moderately complex bosses and trash you can't just AoE. Might even be possible to throw in some crowd control if Blizzard really went crazy. Throw a bit of onion in it, folks. We have ham toasties and cheese toasties. You're from England. We make you ham and cheese toasty, huh? Throw a little bit of onion in it. Let's go crazy. That's my best impression of someone from Holland there. Having been to Holland, I can tell you, in fact, that's all they eat, literally. Every single last one of them. In fact, you see them in the street. Every single one of them has either a ham toasty or a cheese toasty in their hands. And the really crazy ones have both. It's a shocker. Amsterdam was literally paved with cheese and ham. It was a bit smelly by the end of the day. Anyway, JB continues, I believe it could be a nice place for new players to get some basic raiding skills, as well as a fun place for more experienced players to gear up for the real raids. Yes. Okay. Well, honestly, I don't really see an argument against that. Such an instance kind of existed back in TBC. It was called Karazhan. Admittedly, it was a little bit longer than 1 to 2 hours. It was a bit big, but that was the place where you're supposed to cut your teeth. It showed you almost every possible kind of encounter that you could imagine. All sorts of different mechanics to get you used to things. Had trash that, yes, had to be crowd controlled at times. Scary thought. Terrifying. And it prepared you. It prepared you very well for the stuff that was to come. If you could beat Karazhan, at least before they nerfed it into the ground, then yes, you could have a good shot at Groll, you could have a good shot at Magtheridon, and you could have a good shot at SSC and TK. The progression path in TBC, I argue, is the best ever, and my opinion on that is not going to change. Unless you pay me a lot of money, perhaps $10. A microtransaction, as it were. Right. Yeah, I have to think about how you're going to design something like that. Making something that's 1 to 2 hours long and a 10-man is not that hard. The problem is that Blizzard don't want to do 10-mans anymore. They want to do 10/25s. Now, by the looks of it, it's probably going to be that way anyway. If you look at the idea behind Cataclysm, Cataclysm's supposed to have 4 raid instances on launch. It's going to have 2 6s, I believe, a 4 and a 1. Yes, it's going to have 4 raid instances on launch, and they're all going to be brand new. Now, I would imagine that they're not going to all be the same difficulty. Or maybe they will be. Be kind of odd, but it's possible. Is that an entire tier of raiding right there? 4 instances in 1 tier, because that would be awesome. Think about that, how exciting. That's a great idea. Instead of what we got now, which is 1 instance per tier, with the exception of tier 7, which is 2 1 bosses, and then the recycled crap of Naxxramas. Or will they tier it? That's a good question. Will they have 1 big instance as a tier there, and maybe throw the 1 boss instance in there for good measure, and then they have the next tier being the 6 and the 4, to SSC and your TK when you look at it? Maybe. It's possible. So, I don't know. Maybe they will do that. If they design it that way, and they make the progression linear, and maybe go back to a TBC style of progression, then yeah, one of those instances is going to be easier. And that would that would be the little 10-man thing. It's also going to be a 25-man, admittedly, but why not have one dungeon be the training area for both? I don't see the problem with that. Naxxramas trained people to do basically nothing, because it was far too forgiving. Now, one would think that after going through all of that stuff, the Blizzard would say, okay, well, you're probably ready for something a little bit harder now. So it's like, we took a step back in Burning Crusade with Naxxramas in the Tier 7 era, and indeed the Tier 9, for some inexplicable reason. Only the even tiers are good in this particular expansion, folks. I don't know why. Odd numbers are unholy, apparently. So, in that case, surely we can then take a step forward, build on there are some good things in Wrath raiding, like the settable difficulty levels, for instance. That's good. Choice is good. The hard modes. Binary hard modes suck. Non-binaries are good. I didn't like the fact that they were saying, oh, well, we think binaries are the way to go. No, they're not. Don't be ridiculous. Binaries offer absolutely no benefit other than allowing you to be lazy. That's not a benefit to the player base. That stratifies the player base far too far apart. You've heard what I think about binary hard modes and the reason why they're bad. They're universally bad. No good reason for them. So hopefully they take that lesson there. But hard modes in general were a good idea. So it seems to me that if you take the best bits out of TBC, and that's the multiple dungeons on a single tier, very important because that gives variety, lots of smaller dungeons as opposed to massive great stonking dungeons like Ulduar and Icecrown. Split them, make them interesting, give people new paint on the walls, give them variety, give them new scenery to look at, give them new lore objectives and all kind of things, different themes. Allow them to have a varied raid schedule. That is a good thing. That will keep people raiding. That will prevent burnout much better than saying, here's Ulduar, have it for 6 or 7 months, this is all you're ever going to raid. And while that was good, here's Naxxramas, you had to raid that for 6 months as well, and you finished it in 3 days. Ugh. So you take the good things out of TBC, you take the challenge, the difficulty, the need to crowd control, the originality of the bosses there, the punishing mechanics. That's something I think is so vital. You can't learn anything unless you are properly punished. You don't learn anything from the new version of Heigen, for instance, because it doesn't matter. You're going to get hit, and it doesn't make a blind bit of difference. At all. Nobody cares. Oh no, you got hit. It's going to hit me like 3 or 4 more times to actually do anything. And in that time, of course, I can be healed. Think about it. Why would you care? I've seen some people actually heal through it. What a disgraceful state of affairs. Same thing with Thaddeus. Oh, you got on the wrong side. It's okay, because you only take about half damage. You don't die. Again, the Frogger boss is the only lethal one in there. So you got to bring the lethality back in order to properly teach people. That's my idea anyway. I think that's the best way to teach people. You put them against a challenge that they must defeat. You make the consequence for failure high, costly, dangerous. Makes people focus more. I remember one fight that made people focus a lot. Fights that, when dying, you don't just simply become a lost DPS, you become an actual danger to the raid. There are a few examples of that. Like, for instance, Archimond, prime example there. You die, you have the potential to wipe the entire raid. That's a reason not to die, folks! The rest of your raid's going to rage at you. That's an incentive to bring your A game. You don't want the rest of your raid turning around and saying, what the hell? You just killed us all. There are other bosses like that. To a lesser degree, you've got Chromagus in Blackwing Lair, which, if you manage to acquire all 5 types of the aspect thing, I can't remember the names of them, but if you acquired all 5, you turned into a Draconid, which would then run around and kill everybody. Fights like that, we need to see more of that, because that will teach people. It forces you to concentrate and bring your A game for fear of disappointing people. It's not just a case of dying stupidly, it's a case of killing the rest of your raid. Ugh. Not nice. There's a few other things like that, of course. There's pulling aggro, which doesn't happen at all. I've never seen anyone pull aggro in Wrath. That's something that needs to come back. And I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm sure they'll manage it somehow. You don't have to be careful with your DPS anymore. It encourages slovenly play, right? And you'll never learn that way. If you want to teach people how to raid properly, then you've got to put them through a proper raiding 101. You've got to teach them. You don't simply say, oh, well, it was okay that you failed. It's not okay that you failed. Be less terrible. Aspire to be something more than you are. That applies to all walks of life. Especially in World of Warcraft. Not that World of Warcraft's important, but it's an opportunity for you to be good and be all you can be in terms of a gamer within the WoW setting, and it requires very little effort on your part. It's not some unattainable goal not to suck. Really, it isn't. Anyone can do it. All you need to do is pay attention. But Blizzard has got to help out. They've got to be the tutors. They've got to be the teachers. The players can't do it for them. They're incapable. There's too much infighting. And a lot of people don't want to be. Why would I want to teach someone how to raid if I pay my $15 a month to just play the game? I don't want to be saddled with noobs, losers, scrubs. I don't want to be saddled with those kind of people. I don't want to be dragged down by them. They're wasting my time. That's inconsiderate. I don't like it. Who does? Time thieves. That's what they are. Time vampires. You know what we should do with time vampires? We should stake them with the stake of knowledge. And failing that, a brick over the head should suffice. So yes, I would agree. Absolutely, there needs to be something like that. I think that's what they're going for. I hope that's what they're going for. If they're not, then Blizzard, please, 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 for the love of God and all that is holy, do it. Teach your players for once. Don't mollycoddle them. It will only end badly for you and the player base. Ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Total Biscuit. You have been listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. My apologies again that I am not my usual animated self. It's been a very stressful weekend, as you might imagine. Thank you ever so much for listening and for donating to the tip jar. As some of you already have, that is very, very much appreciated. Humbling, in fact, that people would think that the show is worth giving money to. Thank you very much. If you wish to do so, it's totalbiscuit@gmail.com via PayPal. You are by no means obligated to do so. It's very nice when you do. We have a few minutes for shoutouts, folks, but of course I must be charging $10 for these shoutouts, but it's okay because 50% of it will go to charity. Yes. Microtransactions, folks. That's what it is. Well, not really. Shoutouts to totalbiscuit@gmail.com. That is totalbiscuit@gmail.com. Alternatively, tweet it, folks. Tweet it. Twitter.com/TotalBiscuit, send an @reply, or you can send me a message on IRC. IRC.MMO, IRC.com, # or pound WoW Radio for a shout out. That's all you need to do. It's not that hard, really. It's not difficult. Perhaps we should nerf it, however. Some people can't quite handle it. It's dangerous. It's too old school for people. Now, while you are chewing down on that and getting your shout-outs in, I think that's a really old one, actually. No, I can't do that one. Ah, there we go. The stream is being not so much laggy today, but it's taking a little bit of time to go through, so here we go. A shout-out to TB, and a shout-out to me, finishing Borderlands' second playthrough. It is awesome, and thanks to all the WoW Radio community for recommending this game like mad. That's from A Moose of Mystery. Oh, I think he needs a special sound for that.
A Moose of Mystery!
Terrifying. What? Ah! I've been affected by nose!
Ugh, frightening. Right. Can I have a shout out to Dragon Age for having bosses that can kill you? Yes! Yes, it's so good! Oh, that's from Volborg. He's got the right idea. I play it on hard, by the way. A shout out to Borderlands quest items getting stuck inside immovable objects for some reason. A shout out to my guild. What the hell is that? Noughts of the Round. I'm pretty sure you're not called Noughts of the Round. On Alderman US, and our guild leader, Ambassador Shotgun, for Dinging 28 in RL on October 30th. That's from Sean Caster. Shout out to me for pre-ordering Modern Warfare 2. No, scumbag. Just got finished. Don't you even say that. He is trolling me, folks. I'm not going to have it. Therefore, you don't get your shout-out, but you can have it if you pay me $10. Would like a shout-out to Nexus, the sombrero-wearing fire mage from Balnazar EU. That's from Jace. Let's see what we got. A shout-out to you and Ariana. Good luck to both of you. That's from Rizzo. And a shout-out to the Wildcards Guild on the Agramar server for helping me reach level 80. I was away since things released. Okay. Shout out so given. Shout out to my friend for coming back to the game to level up a paladin to heal us in Nax 10. That's from 4Nozo. And a shout out to Bunkerface for hitting the holding bracket at the firing range because I laughed at the bloody Bobby Kotick song. Please be careful with guns! Ugh. Horrible. Shout out to Borderlands being awesome. That's from Scarf Karoth. And lots of luck wish to you and your wife. Yes, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Again, a shout out to killing an Uberak 10-man hard mode with 2 groups. That's from Arena. And last but by no means least, a shout out to me for finally getting unbanned. That's from Ninja Pants. I can fix that, but it's okay because you'll be able to remove the ban for a low, low price of $10. My name is Total Biscuit. This has been Blue Please. Check out the rest of our shows on WCURadio.com. You'll be glad that you did because they are all fantastic. Subscribe to the Wow Radio Twitter feed. That's at Wow Radio. You can also check out my Twitter feed. That's Total Biscuit. I tend to shout a lot on there. There you go. Some people seem to like that. I can't imagine why. So, what should we finish with? Been very appropriate so far. Oh, I think I can find something. So, when Bobby Kotick goes on holiday to the countryside, tell me, where does he like to frolic? I can tell you. He likes to frolic in the fields of gold. Good night.